Video of a customer, Nationwide Insurance, so you can hear in their words some of the excitement about the work between Yammer and SharePoint. So let's take a look.
Nationwide Insurance is based in Columbus, Ohio. We have 35,000 associates. We're Fortune 100, and we're one of the leading insurers in the country.
We wanted to create a culture that enforced collaboration. We wanted people to love our products. Spot is a platform built on top of SharePoint. It allows us to meet these needs.
With SharePoint, what we were able to do is incorporate the content with the people and then the conversation all wrapped with search, which allows us to then increase the pride and productivity and engagement of our associates.
When we launched Spot, we had over 1,000 sites that were created in the first few weeks. And because of this training community that we established on Yammer and Nationwiders helping other Nationwiders, we drove down calls to our help desk. This is something that Nationwide hasn't seen before when launching any product within the company. In our environment, you can search both SharePoint and Yammer in a single search box. And this introduces a lot of value because Nationwiders don't have to think, where do I need to go to find information?
So one of the powerful things with Yammer is it's allowed us to enable this dialogue in between senior leaders in the front line. And it's really created this electronic water cooler that allows this collaboration from top to bottom in the organization to occur.
SharePoint 2013 is going to be an amazing experience here for Nationwide in the near future.
Great. And thanks to Nationwide for supporting us on that. So we've talked about the new experiences that we're bringing to SharePoint with mobile and social with Yammer and the new web UI. Now let's switch gears to the second of the sections, which is the new innovative capabilities, or the meat of SharePoint, if you will. The thing that's really made SharePoint unique in the industry is the breadth of capabilities and how we brought them together. In the early days, how we took document management and search and made 1 + 1 = 3 out of that. How we've added business intelligence, how we've added more advanced workflow capabilities, and lots more. There's a lot of detail on that. We've got about 270 sessions, as we talked about, to go into each area. I know from talking to folks here, there are some people who their primary focus is just in one particular area, like web content management or enterprise search. That's great. We have a lot of new capabilities for you, a lot of sessions to cover those. We're not going to go through them all in a ton of detail right here, but I thought what I'd do is bring up a longtime favorite to the SharePoint conference to give you a quick tour of some of the new deep capabilities in SharePoint. Let me introduce Richard Riley.
Okay, hi. So Jeff kicked off the session with a demo with some of the great social and sharing enhancements that we've made to SharePoint. Now I'm going to spend the next few minutes walking through some of the cool new enterprise features. Specifically, we're going to take a look at search, web publishing, and enterprise content management. And we're going to start off with search. Now the search folks have been extremely busy over the past 3 years. Unifying the FAST and SharePoint cores, we now have a single search engine in SharePoint 2013. And then they've built an intuitive, personal, and actionable interface on top of that. So to give you an example of where that starts, it really starts at the query box. I've just typed in a query for marketing. You can see we get the normal kind of type ahead capabilities that you're all probably familiar with. But at the bottom, we get these blue links. Now what these are called are personal refined links. So how many times have you searched for something and then gone back and searched for it a bunch of times more because you couldn't remember or you needed to go find it again? These links direct you straight back to the result that you found the first time without having to go through the results page. So they save a ton of time. And I'm telling you, they are super useful when you keep forgetting stuff and you need to go back into search and find that thing that you just lost. So if we click through into the results page itself, let me give you a quick tour of what we've done here. We've completely revamped the look and feel. We've got visual refiners out of the box on the left-hand side. We also have the hover card that you saw Jeff talk about earlier. Now these things show up in a lot of places across SharePoint. But what search does is something quite special. When the indexer goes and indexes the content, in this case it's a PowerPoint, it actually looks inside the document and picks out areas of the content that it thinks are going to be important, like paragraph headings or slide titles, and it adds them as deep links into the hover card So right from the results page here, I can click through, for example, onto making choices, which is a slide right within that deck, and I've gone from search to click to the exact slide that I wanted in literally 3 clicks. And this is a pretty cool capability, I think, that we've added into the search engine. Now, the last thing on the search page that I want to show you is this area at the top. And this is called a results block. And what we're doing here is trying to be smart with the query that people put in and actually trying to understand it. So I've done a search for marketing deck. And behind the scenes, we have a set of query rules. And what these do is they translate the English that you put in or the language that you put in into something that the search engine understands a little bit more. So in this case, it's bringing back results that don't include marketing and the words deck. It's bringing back PowerPoints because it understands deck means PowerPoint. This thing machine learns as well, and it can prioritize different rules. You can add your own rules. You can use the query logs to add new rules, and it makes it really easy to create a very personal experience and a very relevant experience to your end users using these query rules. So, we've made the user experience for search more intuitive, personal, and actionable, but that's really only half the story for search. It actually plays a foundational role in SharePoint 2013. For example, it's the engine behind web publishing and e-discovery. So we're going to take a look at web publishing next. Now, our mission with web publishing was to make it easier than ever for you to create beautiful, adaptive, and personalized experiences. And we really have made a bunch of changes under the hood with what we've done with web publishing. The first one is pretty significant. You can now use any design tool that you wish to write web pages for SharePoint. You don't have to use SharePoint Designer anymore to create master pages, which I think is a pretty cool addition. So you can go and use any design tool you want. Once you've created your design assets, you can upload them into SharePoint through a new capability called the Design Manager. If we click down here, you see we've got a link that says Upload Design Files. As you upload your HTML, SharePoint will, in the background, go take your HTML, convert it into a master page, like a shadow master page that it can render, and the job is done, which is great. So I'm sure you're thinking, now that's cool that I don't have to use SharePoint Designer anymore, but how the heck do I now get the SharePoint controls into a web page that I literally just built in Notepad? Well, we have a cool tool for you there, and it's called the Snippet Gallery. So let me go jump into the Snippet Gallery, and what I'm going to do is add a search box to this page along the top here using Dreamweaver and a snippet out of the Snippet Gallery. So, to get to the Snippet Gallery, we're going to the Master Pages page. We drop up to the link on the top here, Snippets. And you see across the top we have a broad range of snippets that I can go insert into my HTML to insert a SharePoint control into it. In this case, I'm just going to click the SharePoint search box. We get a preview of what that looks like. I can change the appearance and a bunch of other properties of that control that I'm about to insert. When I'm done, I can hit copy to clipboard. I'll just throw up this so you can see that there's no smoke and mirrors going on here. I'll drag that to the side. We'll pull up Dreamweaver that's got that page loaded. And I'm literally just going to paste my snippet. I'm literally going to paste my snippet into Dreamweaver when I press the right key. And I'm going to hit save. That's going to save that page back to SharePoint. It's going to convert it into a master page. I'm going to blame that on that's Dreamweaver. That is Dreamweaver. If there's anybody from Adobe in the audience, I'll come and find you later. It always works the second time. Okay, save. That's done. Seriously, it is Dreamweaver. I'm going to hit refresh, and kaboom, we've got the search box in the page. So that's the design side, very high level. What have we done about actually getting content onto the page? Well, we've split the page layouts from the content in this release, and we've sandwiched search slap bang in the middle. And this makes it very easy to build dynamic experiences, because you've got search driving the experience on the front end. So, for example, if I scroll down to the page at the bottom here, you can see a product list at the bottom of this page. And this is driven by a search query, and it's actually using a new recommendations capability in SharePoint. So the kind of thing you see on Amazon, we now have that capability built into SharePoint. So just to prove that point, let me put this page into edit mode, and I'll show you what that actually looks like. Edit page. And we'll scroll down, and you can see we have a new web part called Content Search. If I just edit this web part, and zip back to the top, and hit Change Query, you see a brand new dialog that gives you a ton of control. I'm not going to go through what this thing is doing right now, but you can see all of that content is being pulled back from the SharePoint product catalog using a query. So this is pretty cool stuff. You really can design some very, very interactive, very engaging sites by divorcing the content from the page layout and using search to drive that experience. It is pretty cool. So the last point I want to make here is this demo is clearly targeted at an internet site. But all of the design and personalization capabilities are equally at home inside the firewall. You can use this stuff to completely build a very interactive intranet, for example. And talking about the firewall, let's flip over to eDiscovery, which also has search right at the core of it. Now, eDiscovery, it's not the most exciting thing to demo to one person, never mind 10,000 people standing in front of me, or sitting in front of me. But you know what? Lawyers cost money. And what we've built here should keep more of that money in your pocket and less in theirs. Yeah, that's definitely worth a round of applause, right? So I'm going to give you a quick tour of the eDiscovery experience, and it starts off in the Legal Discovery Center, where we've got a set of cases on the left-hand side of the screen. I'll drill into the Northwind Traders case. And eDiscovery in SharePoint consists of two components. There's the discovery sets, and these are the things you use to identify the content that you want to put on hold. And then there's queries, and you use those queries to refine those discovery sets down to something that you'd export and then hand off to your lawyers to go review. So if we drill into the Northwind eDiscovery set, I just want to point out a couple of quick things here. The first one is that we don't just do eDiscovery across SharePoint in 2013. We actually do discovery across the suite. So you can do eDiscovery across SharePoint, across Exchange, across Link, even across file shares, and put all of those things on hold, which is a huge benefit. You've got one place to go, and it's called SharePoint, and that's the place that you run your eDiscovery activities from. You can see we've got a filter here, and down at the bottom, the other thing I want to point out here is the Enable In-Place Hold. When you've got that filter set to where you want it, you enable the In-Place Hold,